EU names 7 countries as safe and plan to fast track migrant returns. I haven't had a look at this, but let's have a laugh. Let's have a right laugh. The European Union has identified 7 countries it considers safe countries of origin as part of proposals to speed up asylum applications, especially from those countries involved. Citizens from Kosovo. We're off to a flyer. Bangladesh. Colombia. Oh my god. Colombia, Egypt, not the best, but not exactly like dangerous. India, not if you're a woman, you'll get raped and then you'll get into trouble. Morocco, beh, and Tunisia also beh. Nothing too bad. Kosovo, a little bit. Colombia, a little bit as well. Bangladesh and Egypt are not so bad. They're just kind of like third worldy. India is a shithole. India's a giant shithole. SAR. Morocco, not the best, and Tunisia also not the best. A few nice touristy places though, apart from that one place where a bunch of tourists get massacred by ISIS. But anyway, would all have their claims fast tracked within 3 months on the assumption that they were likely to fail. Marcus Lammer of the European Commission said it would be a dynamic list that could be expanded or reviewed, with countries suspended or removed if they were no longer seen as safe. Ever since EU countries saw an influx of irregular migrants in 2015 to 16, they have sought to reform asylum rules. A pact on migration and asylum was agreed last year, but the EU says it does not come into force until June 2026. It wants to push through 2 key rules on speeding up processing. EU leaders called on the Commission last year to come up with plans to accelerate migrant returns, as EU figures suggested over 20% of people ordered to leave were sent back to their countries of origin. Under the plans, EU countries would be able to fast track people coming either from safe countries or countries from which a maximum of 1 in 5 applicants are given protection. European countries that are candidates to join the EU will automatically be considered safe, although exceptions are possible. For example, for countries at war, such as Ukraine. I think, okay, I think if there is an active ongoing conflict, then alright, you get a little bit of a pass. A little bit. However, that's where you go to your nearest, safest country. As soon as you go past that threshold, you're no longer a refugee, you're an economic migrant. Among the countries pushing for reform was Italy, which has seen a big influx since 2015. Other countries, including Germany, have imposed border controls in a bid to limit irregular migration. It's too late for Germany. It's Germany is bad. Have you seen the rape statistics for Germany? It is atrocious. It's so fucking bad. Although Italy is among several member states that already have designated safe countries, it is thought that an agreed EU list would deter asylum seekers from targeting those with looser regulations. I say it doesn't matter about the safe countries, just send them back. Because loads of people that are coming over here and going like, oh yeah, I'm going to get persecuted if I go back home, and then it was discovered that they visited back home to go visit their family like 2 or 3 times that year. Oh, I thought it was dangerous, big man. See, as soon as they do that, send them back immediately. Just cancel the return ticket home and go, oh, well, you lied. Because the overwhelming vast majority of them are. Just go, you fucking lied, so you can stay there. I think the instant someone says, "Oh, I should be able to stay here because I'm persecuted," and then you catch them visiting the place they claimed they were going to be persecuted in, going, "Oh, well, look at that, you're fine. Visa revoked, citizenship revoked. Bye bye." Fucking, it does my head in. We're being taken for a bunch of mugs. Although Italy is among several, oh, I just read that. Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt have all seen large numbers of irregular migrants leave their shores to cross the Mediterranean in recent years. Although a lot of them aren't Moroccan, Tunisian, or Egyptian nationals, they're just coming up through Africa into those countries to then get trafficked across the Mediterranean. And everyone's like, yeah, it's great that they're getting trafficked across. The people that are smuggling people across the Mediterranean, they're charging shit tons of money, which is then going back to terrorist groups that are massacring villages and raping children. Did you know that? Yay, leftism. But it doesn't matter because this kofta's delicious, this wide range of restaurants. I love diversity. The list has been welcomed by Giorgia Meloni's right wing government. Interior Minister, oh, it's right wing this week. That's great. It was far right for a long time. Interior Minister Matteo Piantedosi hailed it as a success for Rome. It's a success for Rome. I get thrown back into another era there. Jeez, that Bangladesh, Egypt, and Tunisia were on the list in the face of purely ideological political opposition. Italian judges blocked Maloney's bid to send Egyptian and Bangladeshi migrants to detention centres in Albania because while the government in Rome deemed their country safe, the European Court of Justice said they could not be seen as safe if all of their regions and minorities were not. The new proposals will now need to be. Just don't send them to those areas then. The new proposals will now need to be approved by both the European Parliament and EU member states. And some human rights groups have expressed concerns about the plans. Euromed Rights, a network of human rights organisations, warned that it was misleading and dangerous to label the 7 countries as safe because they included countries with documented rights abuses. Wow. There's nowhere in Britain or Europe that's doing that all the fucking time. Human rights. Limited protections for both their own citizens and migrants. Nah, migrants over here have more protections than the indigenous people. Much more protections. If you assault a migrant, you'll get a harsher sentence than if you assaulted an indigenous person. Because it gets that little hate crime sticker stuck on there, and that's basically telling the judge, make this punishment very, very severe, because we totally don't have a 2-tier justice system, not at all. We do not cut back on fundamental and human rights, said Commission spokesman Marcus Lammert. Under EU law, member states have to carry out individual assessments of each asylum application in each individual case. There's been multiple cases submitted to the European Court of Human Rights. There was that woman from Austria that called Mohammed a paedophile. She had her case overturned, and there's also the fact that Germany are outright trying to ban a democratic party because they don't like that they are gaining a lot of votes, which basically means Germany is a controlled democracy, which means that's it. As soon as they do that, Germany is no longer a democratic country. And the last time Germany was not a democratic country. Woo! I'm just saying. You know, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Right, but okay, good idea, a nice little step in the right direction. I'll believe it when I see it, etc., etc. But my whole thing is, we can only send them back to safe countries. My rebuttal to that is, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? They survived this long. You know, that 14-year-old guy coming over on the raft with like a beard and covered in body hair. I am 14. Put me in class with your child. Right, those guys, remember those? Remember that was a thing for a while where there was like 30-odd-year-old men in school classes and stuff like that. Yeah, that was fun. That was a great laugh. But like, yeah, I say who gives a shit? Just send them back. That's it. They came over here illegally, right? They have broken the law. Tough shit. Tough shit. You don't get rewarded for breaking the law. You get sent back to your supposed dangerous country, and you've managed to survive this long that I'm sure you'll be just fine.